Okay, we're back for part 2, and I'm going to do this a little differently here for number 5. So our denominators are 6, 7, 3. 6, 7, and 3. Okay, so what's a number that all of these go into? Well, if I look at 3 and 6, that would just be 6. Both of these divide into 6. Now 6 and 7, this is going to be a case, they don't have any common factors. So I can just do 6 times 7, which is 42. That's going to be the LCD. If you multiply all these together, you're going to get a bigger number. It'll still work in the end. It just means you may have to reduce your fraction. All right, now this is what I'm going to do to kind of save us a little bit of space here. I have to multiply each piece of this by 42, by the LCD, because I have to do the left side and I have to do the right side. But one thing that you can do, if you want to save yourself a little bit of time, is you can take each piece and write the 42 like this. So you don't need to, this would be your distributing right here. So you're going to multiply each piece by 42. Now the reason we're going to do that, 42 divided by 6 is 7. Now that 7 is multiplying what's left over, which is s minus 3. So I'm going to write it, and then I'll distribute. So 7 times s minus 3 equals 42 divided by 7 is 6. But 6 is going to multiply s plus 1. And then we have 42 divided by 3, which is 14. And that's minus 2 times 14. Now, if you want to do the distributing from here, you can. Again, why are we doing this? Notice that we just reduced all of our denominators so that we don't have any more fractions. That's the point. So we distribute now. 7s minus 21 equals 6s plus 6, and then this is minus 28. So now we're going to combine like terms on the right side. Positive 6 minus 28, that will subtract and we get minus 22. Now let's go ahead and move. I'm going to move 6s by subtracting it to the left side. At the same time, let me move the constant minus 21 to the right. And what we get is 1s equals negative 1. And that's our solution. Now again, it takes time here, but if you want to check it, you have to take the whole left side, which was s minus 3, so negative 1 minus 3 divided by 6. And that value is negative 2/3. Okay, so left side is negative 2 over 3. If the right side is the same thing, then we're done. So we had a fraction. Now it's the original problem. So it was s, which is negative 1, plus 1 divided by 7, and then it was minus 2 over 3, and we get as an answer, negative 2/3. So we're good. So the right side is negative 2/3. Okay, so you can see these problems require a lot of work, but what's our goal? At the beginning, the goal is to eliminate the fractions by multiplying by the least common denominator. Let's take one more. Let's skip down to the last one, number 8. That looks complicated. Okay, so we've got 3 denominators, 20, 4, and 10. Can you think of a number that all of these go into? Now actually, I know that 4 goes into 20 and 10 divides into 20. So the LCD is just 20, which is kind of nice. Okay, so what do we have to do here? We are multiplying the left side and the right side by 20, which means since the right side has 2 pieces here, I'm going to write 20 next to each fraction, okay? And then we're going to do our dividing, and then we'll distribute. Okay, so in an equation, if you're going to multiply both sides by a number, you have to multiply each piece by that number. So let's divide first. 20 divided by 20 is 1. So that just leaves us 13 times x minus 1. 20 divided by 4 is 5. That's 5 over 1, so that's why the fraction is gone. We don't need the 1. So it's 5 times what's left in the numerator is 5 plus x. And then 20 divided by 10 is 2. Okay, so we have minus. I'm going to put minus 2. I'm subtracting this times 3x minus 2. Okay, be real careful with that negative sign there. So that's minus 2 times this. Okay, let's distribute. So we've got 13x minus 13 equals, that would be 25 plus 5x. Don't forget to multiply the second term. And then, now this is a negative 2, so that's minus 6x. Negative times a negative is a positive. Be real careful, because if you miss that, if you say that's minus 4, everything is going to be wrong. All right, let's clean up the right side. 25 plus 4 is 29. 5x minus 6x is negative 1x equals 13x minus 13. Okay, so we've taken something very complicated, and now this is something that's a lot easier to work with. Let's move negative 1x by adding it to both sides. At the same time, we can move negative 13 to the right side by adding. So we get 14x, that's 0, equals 42, and that is also 0. Okay, so 14 times x equals 42. We got one more move here. We'll divide by 14. And so we have x equals, and that's positive 3. Oh, that works out nicely. All right, now let's see here. Is it right? The left side was fraction, 13, and it was times x minus 1. So I'm going to put the 3 in there, minus 1, close parentheses, divided by 20. That was the left side, equals, okay, 13 over 10. And then the right side, we had two fractions. So we had 5 plus x, that was 3, divided by 4. And then come to the right, minus fraction. It was 3 times x, so 3 times 3 minus 2 divided by 10. Now, what we're hoping to get here is the same value, 13 over 10. And we get, there it is, 13 over 10. There's your check, so we know that this is good. And that is the end of the notes.